Are you ready? Hello and welcome to our Facebook Live session on uncovering the examiner's report for paper financial reporting that used to be called F7. So, I read the examiner's comments and I've highlighted a few key points. Now, watching this Facebook Live session is not going to be sufficient for you to have that knowledge of what the examiner has said in his report. So I would urge you to go away after watching this video and read the examiner's comments, because that's going to help you see what are the common mistakes and pitfalls that students have made in the previous session, which was September 2018. So, Section A, you need a broad range of knowledge of the syllabus. Be prepared for this exam. Don't do question spotting. You need to know all the learning outcomes because they're all important and there's a possibility that they will all be examined in this upcoming exam or any F7 financial reporting exam. So you need to have a wide and deep knowledge of the syllabus. Now, you know that in Section A and B, you've got objective test questions. Be careful, spot the distractors. So if you've got a choice from 4, there are 2 that are probably distractors, outliers, weird and wonderful answers. Then you've got 2 that look very similar. Be careful. Do all the process and the steps if it's a calculation. And if it's a narrative and a wordy type answer, make sure you read carefully the requirement and the scenario. Now let's go to Section C. Many students rush Section C because they give Section A and B too much time and they don't leave 40% of the exam time available for Section C. So don't be one of those students that rushes this, because as I've said in my previous Facebook Live sessions, the issue is in Section A and B, you get all or nothing, 0 marks or 2 marks. It is in Section C that you can collect partial marks, half mark, 1 mark, etc. And if you got the answer wrong, and then you use that same number, the wrong, incorrect number, henceforth, in a process, you will still be able to get marks elsewhere and you only lose the marks once. What do we call that? Own figure rule or method marking. So, preparation of single entity financial statements. Students have a lot of adjustments to do there. So what do you need to do? You need to practice enough questions, enough past questions to ensure that you've had time to see all the different possibilities that could come up in this exam. Please make sure you present your answer properly, whether it's a statement of comprehensive income or whether it's a statement of financial position. Make sure you present it properly with the correct headings and titles, and then link up all of those numbers to workings, which you can do directly underneath the spreadsheet. So always do the spreadsheet if you're doing a computer-based exam in a vertical format. If you don't show your workings, you're going to lose marks because the markers are not telepathic. They have no idea what's in your head or in your calculator. So if you've got a spreadsheet and you're doing a computer-based exam, please make sure you're putting in the formulas and using the spreadsheet to calculate the formulas. If you're still doing a paper-based exam, make sure you write out the formulas that you're going to do. Present your workings in a logical, legible manner. That's very important. Provisions. Deferred tax, earnings per share were specifically mentioned in the September 2018 examiner's report, which means what? Pay attention to those standards. Practice enough of those standards so that you know all the different possibilities, the way that this standard can be examined. And remember, earnings per share is a monetary value, dollars or cents, pounds or pence. So make sure you do put the monetary value down and don't just leave it as 0.42, as many students did in the September 2018 exam. Analysis of single company entity financial statements. So what are we doing here? Analysis, what are we talking about? Ratio analysis. What do students do? Well, if you've got a computer-based exam, you will not be given a spreadsheet to calculate the ratio analysis. You will be given word processing tool. Why is that? Because for such a question, as the question analysis says, the verb, you've got to analyze the performance and the position of the company that you're going to be doing this analysis for. That means that calculating the ratio is only a little bit, tiny weeny amount of the marks. The rest of the marks are given for the explanation. So, number one, markers have said, the examiner said, students don't show their workings. Even when you've got the computer, even when you're doing a spreadsheet, please show the formulas. Even though you're using your calculator to calculate it, that's fine, but show the workings. You can insert a table in the spreadsheet, and if you're doing it by paper-based, please show the workings. Number two, the calculation part is done okay, it's done quite well. It's the narrative and the discussion part. Operating profit margin went up by 5%. Gross profit margin went up by 2%. These are the types of explanations students are doing. That's not sufficient. You can't just say gone up, gone down, increase or decrease. You need to explain why. And if you want to get good marks on this section, explain why. What are the reasons? And you know what? Use the scenario, because the answers are somewhere in the scenario, but students just go and present vague answers, textbook answers, sentences that you've memorized from your past exam papers or past exam questions. Don't be that typical student that makes that mistake. And students don't even put a conclusion down sometimes. You get marks for conclusion. Summarize the main points from your analysis and make a conclusion. Write a conclusion. Don't be those sort of students that don't do a conclusion. Then you've got preparation of consolidated financial statements and an analysis of consolidated financial statements. There's lots of things going here. You've got those 5 workings or 7 workings that you've got to do, a few adjustments, standard questions in here. You must know your standards in detail for this exam. Don't be those students that are like, oh, well, earnings per share was in September, so I'm not going to do earnings per share this time. No, 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 no. You must learn all the standards. You must know the pro formas, and you must know the key workings to calculate. So please practice enough questions. To pass any of these exams that I've been talking about this week, you need good exam technique. And if you were going to ask me what are the top 5 good exam techniques, I would say time management. Manage your time properly for each of the sections. I would say when it comes to discussion, make sure you put your headings, make sure you could use the heading performance and position. Make sure you present your answers well and have a conclusion. I would say present your performance nicely, neatly, and the workings, and link up the workings and put the formulas into the cells, because that's what the markers can see. Make clear statements, and I would say avoid repetition. What do typical students do? When they run out of things to say, they'll say the same things but in different words, adding different words in different sentences. They've repeated their paragraphs, their sentences, and they've wasted time. Don't repeat. If you haven't got anything else to say that's different from the point you've already made, then leave it there. And make sure you always provide a conclusion and summarize the main points. If you've got any questions, please type them out and comment on this video. I will be answering them for the next couple of hours today. Good luck for your upcoming financial reporting exam.